I have to say the scenery in the last few minutes of that are just absolutely breathtaking. It's marvelous. Thank you so much for being with us tonight here. My name is Jennifer Kowalczyk. I'm with Mountain Lake PBS, and I'm joined here by Viken Atarian, who has been a longtime friend of the station, and we couldn't be happier to have you here. So thank you, Viken, for being with us tonight. We are celebrating a very special anniversary this year. This is our 40th year at Mountain Lake PBS, but this is a very special anniversary with our Armenian friends as well. This is our 18th year working together.
Yes, it is our 18th year. We started in baby steps, and we are now adults, and we can vote. 18 years we've been helping PBS. It is absolutely very important. We have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in support of this station, in support of Armenian programming. Hundreds of young men and women have come to this station and have volunteered giving back to the community. We have had dozens and dozens of documentaries which were encouraged by the work of this station to produce more. So it has just been an extremely very fruitful collaboration.
It's been wonderful from our perspective as well. And we have our group of wonderful volunteers with us as well, the AGBU Scouts. So let's keep them busy and get those phones ringing and show that you support the type of programming like this one, this very unique documentary, one that you wouldn't find anywhere else, and that we're thrilled to be bringing you on Mountain Lake PBS.
Այո, սիրելի հայրենագիտներ, չմոռնաք, որ գրգին ապրիլ 23 ենք այսօր, վաղը մեր ցեղասպանության դոնն է, ուրեմն եթե մենք կուզենք մեր արդար թադը բոլոր ժողովրդին հասցնել, անհաբաղ հեռացայնեցեք 1800 836 5700, անդամակրվեցեք Mountain Lake PBS-ի. We can take your calls in English, in French, in any language you wish, so please make those phones ring.
That's right, and your support could not be more important right now. And tonight, we're very lucky to be offering the DVD of the program that you're watching right now, Uprooted, and that's at the $75 level. It's a generous donation. And for the 3 DVD set, all by by the way, our director tonight, Hagup, is here in the studio with us as well. And these 3 films, Uprooted, Armenian Exile, and My Son Shall Be Armenian, wonderful films, things that you'll only find on Mountain Lake PBS. So now is the time to make a call and show your support for the station that brings these type of local stories that are so important to tell. And one of the wonderful things I think about having this relationship between us is that we're able to tell this Armenian story and bring it to a much wider audience than I think you may have otherwise found.
Yes, I think what goes even beyond that, over the years, through the work of this station and other PBS stations, and it all actually started here, what has happened is the news has gone out, and people filmmakers who want to make documentaries have been encouraged by this piece, the work that we have done here, and they have created more and more documentaries. This year, there's a big feature film, The Promise, is being shown, and that was also inspired by the work that PBS has done, and we have had our contribution to do that. So please support the stations. This is a friendly station that is cooperating with the Armenian community for almost 2 decades. Please call 1-800-836-5700 and become a member.
Well, we feel very lucky to be a part of this partnership. Right now, though, we have a very special guest in the studio, so I'll send it over to Tom Halleck.
All right, thanks a lot, Jen and Viken. And yes, one of those great documentary producers that Viken's talking about, Hagup Gutsuzian. So nice to see you again. Welcome back. It's been a few years since you were here with us, but it is a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
As Viken mentioned, over the years, Mountain Lake PBS has been bringing the stories of Armenians to our audiences in the United States and Canada. Several of those films and documentaries have been yours.
Yes, they have. And to me, it's a great pleasure and an honor to be participating with PBS and Mountain Lake PBS to expose my films. It's an honor.
And Uprooted, the one we're seeing tonight, is this the 10th film that you've made?
Yes, I think so, yes.
About Armenia.
Yes,
That's
I'm
amazing.
losing count at this point.
Now, your great-grandparents fled the rule of the Ottoman Empire, and they, by foot, went to Egypt.
Yes.
And that's where you were born, and then you moved as a young boy to Montreal, and you live in Toronto now.
Correct, yes.
You began your career as a television producer, producing mainstream television for a number of years. When did you get into filmmaking, and when did you decide to start making films about Armenia?
Well, I think the true inspiration became the independence of Armenia. And that said, it's now time that as a professional filmmaker, that I've devoted myself to the culture that I've inherited through my family.
So that was about 25 years ago, back in
That's right.
1991. And
Yes.
so one of the first films you made, My Son Shall Be Armenian, that was one of the first films
That's right.
you worked on.
It was the first in the series of my Armenian trilogy, but the first that was aired, but the first one that I really shot was Armenian Exile. So part one is Armenian Exile. Again, it's the search of the quest for identity. And that one is more on a personal level of who I am after so many years of living far away from the Armenian community, where I'm back immersed in a country that welcomes me as their lost child, you know?
And you took several folks from the Montreal Armenian community with you to Armenia when you filmed
My Son Shall Be
My
Armenian.
Son Shall Be Armenian.
Yes.
That experience, what was that the first time you had been to Armenia?
No, it wasn't the first time, but to some of the people in that group, it was their first time. And to many of them, it was a life-changing experience. To one of them in particular, who was far removed from being an Armenian, who just had a name, Armenian, suddenly realized who she really was. And that aspect of life is very important, that we are keep in touch with our identity and our roots.
And for you, that's a passion, really, that you explore cultural roots and identity.
Inevitably, it is how one maintains one's balance in life. If we don't have our cultural memory alive in ourselves, then we lose the balance of who we are.
And that's a point that you make quite often in your films, and this is no exception.
Yes, it's no exception, because I believe that it's critical, because I believe firmly that memory and identity are intertwined.
Now, as we mentioned, 10 films altogether, Uprooted. This is really about Armenians around the world. You're really asking them, well, for them, it's like a sense of being uprooted.
Yes, we have been continuously uprooted for 1,000 years, but more specifically in the last 100 years. And as a consequence, who are we as a result of this uprooted history? And different people have different ideas, approaches, definitions of what is an Armenian today. And there is not one that is the definitive answer. There are many definitive answers.
And as a nation, you're still dealing with the consequences.
As a nation, as well as the diaspora, is continuously dealing with the question of identity, because it has become our main focus. The genocide has been the main focus of our identity. And our evolution has been colored by this.
And in this film, you go back to Armenia in search of the forgotten, and I think you used the word at times, ignored identity.
Exactly.
And as we hear from many of the people in the film, really, you're still exploring the meaning, the understanding of that identity.
That's right. And I'm forever searching to get clarification. And what is interesting is I met an archaeologist, and as I say on the DVD cover, if you look at what history has dealt us, we should not exist. And it's stunning, you know, it took me a little while to understand what he was trying to say, is that the adversity we have faced in the last 4,000 or 5,000 years is that how is it possible that we still exist today? We shouldn't exist, but we do. And not only do we exist, but we have gone beyond existence and we thrive. And what is it that what gives us this strength to move forward? I don't know the answers. I only ask the questions.
And that's what you were asking so many of these people. That's what
right.
what we hear in this film. Great. Hagop, thank you very much. We're going to look forward to chatting with you a lot tonight. Right now, though, let's send it over to Bill McCogan. Bill?
Tom, thanks so much. And we are so grateful to Hagop for coming here to share this wonderful film, this wonderful story, and to share his experiences in making this story. Once again, with a gift to Mountain Lake PBS, we will send to you a copy, a DVD copy of this wonderful film, Uprooted. $75 pledge will get you that film. And for a $150 pledge here to Mountain Lake PBS, we'd like to offer you, as our way of saying thank you, the 3 DVD set with Uprooted, Armenian Exile, and My Son Shall Be Armenian, really expanding this wonderful story. You know, we're joined once again by our friends from Montreal, from the Armenian General Benevolent Union Scouts. They are here waiting to take your calls, to speak to you as we ask you for your support. You know, Mountain Lake PBS, our mission is to inspire and enrich our communities by meaningful storytelling and by engaging those communities. And what better way than with this kind of work, with Hagup's beautiful film, which serves to bridge cultures, to bridge generations, as people are celebrating, not only celebrating their history and seeking to understand their history, but taking that, whether they're young or old, and using that knowledge to make a better future for themselves, their families, their communities. That's what our mission is all about, and we can't do it without your support. So please call us at that number. Visit us at mountainlake.org and find out ways that you can not only donate online, but find out more about what Mountain Lake PBS is doing within our communities. We're partners with you in our communities. And when you pledge your support to us, we pledge back to you that we will continue to serve that mission, to be the storyteller of the most wide range of folks here in our communities. Whether it's these kinds of stories about communities building up within our region who, for whatever reason, have had to seek out their own culture because of tragic circumstances of having to leave their homes. We've had those kinds of stories way too often in our world. These are stories that we all learn from, and these are the kinds of stories that you can help support, in addition to the wonderful entertainment, cultural activities, local issues and public affairs that you've come to expect from Mountain Lake PBS. Please pick up that phone right now. Our friends and from the AGBU Scouts and other friends from Mountain Lake PBS are waiting here to talk to you. Give us a call. Let us know what you'd like to see on Mountain Lake PBS, how you can see us serving the Armenian community in Montreal and throughout this region, as well as other communities that we seek to serve. Right now, let's hear a little bit more about this terrific film. I'm going to toss it back to Tom and to Hagup. Tom?
All right. Thank you, Bill. Back with Hagup. Why did you make this film? Who did you make this film for?
Well, the quest for identity is a universal theme. Universal, but in my case, it's very specific. Ancient cultures depend on their grandeur as point of reference of identity. And often we forget to ask everyday people, what is the concept of identity as they see it? And this is meant for everybody. And not only is it meant for Armenians, but because it's a universal theme, you can change the word and it'll be universal. But as I am an Armenian, this film is about Armenians.
So all generations, younger generations, older generations, as we're going to see coming up a little bit later in the film, we're going to hear how thousands of younger Armenians are having an awakening. They're wanting to know more about their past. They're wanting to know more about their roots. Are we seeing a growing number that maybe would probably be great grandchildren now from a century ago?
That's right.
Are we seeing them wanting to learn more about their Armenian roots?
I think that it's inevitable that one needs to find their roots to be able to go forward, because the understanding who we are helps us project towards our future. And I believe firmly that each individual is made up of three key memories: cultural memory, a family memory, and an individual memory that they've created. So if we don't have a balance of this cultural memory that we've inherited, the family memory, as well as our personal memory, then we lose our balance somehow. So we need to able to regain self-confidence. We have to connect of who we were to become who we will be.
Is it made tougher because so many young generations today that have Armenian blood in them, that are Armenians, aren't living in Armenia? I mean, I think the number we hear is only about a quarter of the world's Armenians call Armenia home.
Varying numbers have been used. I don't know for sure what the exact problem or issue is, if there is one, but the fact is that a lot of them, the youth today, with various church organizations, have gone back to Armenia. And there's once they do that, there's a new connection and better understanding of their own identity.
And as they go back, how are they finding life? Is it tough in Armenia to make a living? Are they going back and finding tough conditions?
Of course, for many it is tough, but the help that is being brought by the young organizations is trying to, cover up some of the difficulties that they're having.
But the nation struggles with economic conditions.
Yes, and because it's a landlocked country, import-export is difficult. There's no port for cars to come in, or so everything has to come through other countries before, and there's a blockade. That
makes it problematic when
yes.
with a number of the neighbors.
That's
right. When you're isolated.
And there's also
like
the ongoing conflict with Artsakh, the Nagorno-Karabakh, with neighboring countries.
And just within the past few years, we've obviously seen the civil war in Syria. Has Armenia been feeling the wave of refugees fleeing that conflict?
Yes, they have, but as well we have been feeling it in Canada. Just in my building, I have 50 Syrian refugees, where it was in a high-rise where there were no Armenians living. Right. So I have lots of Armenian neighbors now.
And nationwide, 40,000, Montreal, Toronto, all welcoming
yes.
Syrian families, refugees
right.
with open arms. All right, we are going to chat a little more. Right now, though, let's go back over to Jen.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Hagop, for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. I think that one of the things I love most about this story is that it's a story in some ways of so many of the struggles that the Armenian people have faced, but I find the search for identity really inspiring in a way.
I think it's very important. Part of it is also obviously fueled by what happened during the genocide, so there is this feeling of that we survival at all costs. But I think it's also important that there is a large network of institutions, such as the Armenian General Benevolent Union, churches that Hagop alluded to, and they do organize various missions to Armenia. Our own youth, some of them right behind us, have been to Armenia constructing homes for the poor, building there, connecting with the people, creating relationships, and going back not only one time, twice, some even 3 times. So it's very important that this quest for identity start at a young age, so that it continues through a lifetime and it continues at a generational level. And that's why this film is important. Այս ֆիլմը Սիրանի հայրենագիցներ շատ կարևոր է, որովհետև մեզի գխոսի մեր ինքնության մասին եւ թե այդ ինքնությունը ինչպես պետք է պահպանել։ Եվ եթե դուք կհավատաք, թե ձեր ինքնությունը պետք է պահպանեք, առաջին գործը որ պետք է անեք, հիմա հեռացայնեցեք 1800 8365700 եւ անդամակրվեցեք Mountain Lake PBS-ի։ Այս գայանին պատճառով է, որ այս ծրագիրները կպատկերասփռվին ամբողջ հյուսիսային Ամերիկայի մեջ. Please call, become a member, and support this station. We can answer your calls in English. On peut vous répondre en français, ցեզի գրնակ պատասխանել հայերենով, եւ նաեւ ուրիշ լեզուներով ալ։ Սակայն ամենակարևորը ձեր արդար տադին համար հիմա անհաբաղորեն հեռացայնեցեք, թող հեռացայինները հնչեն մեր սկաուտներուն համար.
Well, we are very grateful to have our volunteers with us, so we want to keep them busy. So let's get those phones ringing, make your call of support, and show that you value this type of story, a story that you won't find on any other channel on your dial, and one that's so important to tell. And we really value this partnership that we have with our Armenian friends, with our Montreal community, and we hope that you appreciate that as well. So make that call, take advantage of the $75 level, and pick up this Uprooted DVD. It's a beautiful film. We're about to see more of it. Or you can also give $150 and take advantage of the 3 DVD set of Uprooted, Armenia in Exile, and My Son Shall Be Armenian. This is a great opportunity for you to tell this story, to share the story with somebody else. If you've already got the copy, that you'd like to share it with somebody else. This is the kind of thing that we can only do with your support.
Become a member, give one to your local school, give one to your local library. It doesn't matter. Send one to your member of parliament. So donate so that you tell the story more and more in a much more faceted way, and that's how you become a member. Please support the station. The phones are quiet now. Ցեզի պետք ունիք որ հեռացայիններուն անպայման հիմա հեռացայինեք.
Thank you so much, and let's hear a little bit more now from Tom and Hagop.
All right, thanks so much. And Hagop, is it hard for people outside of the Armenian community to really understand the profound impact that the genocide had on your country, on your people, on the millions of Armenians?
Absolutely. As the first step is because many still do not know much about the Armenian genocide due to the perpetrators denying the very existence of it. And the genocide has become a sort of a key moment of how our identity has evolved. So if the people outside who don't know Armenians don't know about our culture, then they sort of don't know about the genocide, they don't know about the culture, so there's a bit of a distance.
Is the worldwide perception changing?
Absolutely, and in particular with the release of, with the help of PBS and showing films about the Armenian culture that they've been doing for so many years, I think consciousness changes inevitably. And it helps us, I think that showing films is one of the best ways to communicate, to reach out, to bridge cultures, to join cultures together.
And for the first time, as Viken mentioned, a major studio has put out a film that's been released this weekend. We're going to ask you your thoughts about that coming up in just a few minutes. So for right now, though, we're going to go back to your wonderful documentary, Uprooted, here on Mountain Lake PBS.